Hey there friends, it's Liz from the Peacock Homestead, and in this week's video we'll be going in the kitchen and making some Gruyere cheese. I've also made a couple other things. I made some ricotta cheese and a strawberry rhubarb pie, and then I was going to give you an update on our goat shelter because this weekend we are getting our Nigerian dwarf goats. And if that's something that you're interested in, let's get into the video. So here we have some rose rugosa that we planted. So that is a medicinal plant. And then I have a dwarf cherry tree on the other side. I figure it'll do really well in the front, so we're super excited for that. And we did plant a pear tree right there. We're gonna go check on it. I think I see some little buds coming out, so that's exciting. That means that it's doing its thing down there and growing some nice roots. So there they are. They're so cute. So that means this is alive. I was kind of worried it was dead, but thank goodness it is still alive. So that is really good news. And over here I have an apple tree. My husband actually started this from a seed. So that's actually starting to look really good and put its roots down. So hopefully someday we'll be able to get some apples off this. And then I also planted an elderberry bush right next to it. It's kind of hard to see because it's all so green over here, but that's my little elderberry, and hopefully that'll sprout out and I'll have a ton of elderberries in a couple of years, and that will be really nice. I also did some rearranging on the side of the yard because we're going to have the goats there, so I took out some medicinal plants and put them in one of my empty beds in the backyard. So we've been working on the lawn and still planting quite a bit in the garden. But everything's starting to look really green. It looks so nice. So we're going to go in the kitchen now, and I'm going to start on making this Gruyere cheese. I got the recipe from one of my cheese books. It's called The 200 Easy Homemade Cheese Recipes by Deborah Amarian Boyce. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, so I apologize if I said it wrong. It is on page 232, and I decided to make this cheese because the hubs and I have been trying new cheeses, and we tried this Gruyere cheese and it was amazing, so I'm gonna try to make it. So for the cultures that I used Flora Danica for my thermophilic culture, and then I have some calcium chloride here, and I would do really well with using animal rennet. I tried to use the vegetable rennet before and it was really bad. It curdled up and it did not look good at all, so I like using the animal rennet much better. So I'm just getting the milk up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to add some calcium chloride, and the measurement I'm using is 3/4 a teaspoon, and I'm diluting it in 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water, and I'm going to give that a stir and just add it slowly and then mix that really well. For my thermophilic culture, I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon of Flora Danica. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that on top and wait about 2 minutes and then stir it. So I'm just sprinkling on top now. I'm going to put the lid on and wait 2 minutes. All right, it's ready to stir. Then I'm going to wait at least 10 minutes to let it do its magic and kind of marinate. And then we're going to come back and add the liquid rennet. And for the measurements for the rennet, that is 3/4 teaspoon for this recipe. And I'm diluting it in a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water. So what I do when I add the rennet, I just add it slowly and then only stir for about 30 seconds, but no more than a minute because it's going to coagulate really quickly. And then I'll let that sit for about a good 40 to 45 minutes. And then we're going to come back and cut the curds. Have you ever noticed that a lot of these cheese recipes are pretty much basically the same? It's just the affinage, the aftercare of the cheese, it's what's making it have its flavor. The hubs and I had to go out of town for a doctor's appointment, and this farm stand had some rhubarb, so I was thinking I could probably make a couple things with this. I really love rhubarb. I didn't have enough to really make a lot, so I put half in the freezer, and I'm gonna make a filling with the other half. And I have a bag of frozen strawberries here, and then I have about a cup and a half of the rhubarb, and I'm gonna cook this, and I'm gonna make a pie filling. I'm only gonna add like a cup of sugar and a little bit of water, and I'm gonna get that going on the stove. Okay, we are gonna check to see if this has a clean break. Let's see, it looks like it's doing good there. There we go. I think that's a pretty good clean break, and we're gonna get to cutting this up into little grids and let it rest for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna bring it up to temperature slowly and start stirring it. So I'm gonna stir this, and I'm gonna start slowly, and then I'm gonna bring the temperature all the way up to 114, but within an hour's time. So I want to do it very slowly and stir these, because you don't want to have the curds overcook or have them be undercooked, because they just got cooked on the outside and the inside's still kind of raw. So I'm going to stir this nice and slow. The temperature right now is about 90 degrees. It kind of stays its temperature. So once I get it up to 90 degrees, I let it do its thing and I turn off the stove, and it keeps the temperature with the lid on. And so I'm gonna just be taking the temperature here, and I was gonna show you that it's around 90, and I'm bringing the temperature up slowly up to 114 within an hour's time, and it's gonna kind of have a bouncy texture, and you're gonna be able to squeeze the curds in your hand, and it'll kind of knit together. That's when you know it's correct, and then it'll be ready to go in the press. So these are looking good. I'm going to cook them for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we're going to zip it up with the blender. But still stirring here slowly, and we'll get it up to 114, and I'll show you that. And you see how the whey is coming up to the surface? So are the curds, but there's more and more whey that goes up to the surface, and then the curds kind of drop. And once it gets more cooked, you'll see more whey. And you see how it's kind of knitting together at the bottom? So I gotta kind of keep on it because it's a really high temperature. Now it's at 114. And once I squeeze the curds and see that they're sticking together, I think it's about time that we can get this all strained out. Yep, it looks like it's sticking together pretty good, and it's crumbly, so they're good to go. We are just going to pour out the whey. It's really heavy, so I needed a helper. Thank God the hubs was around to help. I'm going to get that all strained out, and then it's going to go right into the press. At about 10 pounds of pressure for a good 20 minutes. I think I forgot about it, and I actually flipped it at about 35 to 40 minutes. And then I'm just going to flip it a couple times and then press it overnight. I had 4 gallons of whey, so I was thinking I am going to make something with that, and I decided to make some ricotta cheese. So I put about a cup of white distilled vinegar, and I brought the whey up to temp, and then I waited until it boiled. Boiled it for about 15 minutes, and I scraped the top layer off, which is the ricotta, and I put it in this little basket. And the whey is going to drip out on the bottom, and I'm going to pop it in the fridge, and then I'm going to use this for a recipe that I made. It is just a regular kind of like goulash recipe, and I put that on top and baked it, and that turned out super delicious, so I can't wait to show you that. But I am going to be flipping the cheese now, so that first press is done, and it looked like it knitted okay, so we're going to flip this and put it back in the press, and I'm going to do a little bit heavier of a weight. I'm going to go by what it looks like, what the liquid looks like, and I did it for about 40 pounds of pressure, and I am going to press it a lot longer, probably for about a good 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll flip it again. So you see how the whey coming out is nice and clear? That's what you want to see. The strawberry rhubarb filling is done. All I did was add some flour, and I zipped it up with my stick blender, and I'm gonna make a little strawberry rhubarb pie with this. So I'm gonna roll out the dough. All I have here is some shortenings, cold water, and some flour. I just use the King Arthur's non-bleached flour. I still have yet to try a recipe using my grains, and I have a grain mill, and I love to experiment with it and try new recipes, and a pie crust seems really tasty, so I would like to do that someday. So I'm just gonna fill this up, and of course I overfilled it, and when I baked it, it kind of bubbled everywhere. It made a mess. I didn't have enough of the pie crust to do a whole lattice across it, so it looks like it kind of fell in, but I just didn't have enough, so I laid whatever I had on top and went with it. And I'm gonna just brush some egg wash on it. It turned out kind of ugly, but it tastes really good. There's definitely nothing wrong with an ugly pie. And then I had all this filling left over. I think I'm just gonna pop this in the freezer for Pop-Tarts or maybe another ugly pie, we'll see. I got this ricotta out of the fridge. It's been chilling for a while, and I just am curious how much it weighs. So it went down significantly, so it's probably not that much, but it's enough to make one meal. So I made a nice little kind of goulash casserole with it, and then I put this on top. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute here. So now I am flipping my cheese again, and this is going to be the final flip until I press it overnight. So it looks like it's knitted together really well. Okay, I'm happy with this. It's going to knit even more overnight, and then I'll put it in its brine. So I'm going to do the brine for about 20 hours. Flip it at 10 in the middle, and then salt the outside, and then we can start aging it. So right here I have it about 60 pounds of pressure, and it's kind of gently weeping a nice clear whey, so that means I didn't press it too hard. And now it is the next morning, and we're going to take a peek at this and see how well it knit up. It actually looks really great, and I'm happy with it. And I have my brine that I had saved, so I am going to put the cheese in there, and we're going to brine it for 20 hours. And the party doesn't stop there, because now we have to do affinage, and affinage is the aftercare of cheese, which is super important because it is what it gives its flavor, and we want it to have really good flavor. So this cheese has to age for 6 months, and the first month of the aftercare, well, at least 6 months, but you can go up to 2 years to age Gruyere. And for the first month, I have to wash it on every second day with my brine. And I'm gonna do that on the whole cheese and give it a good wash, and then pop it back in the cheese cave. And then after that month is over, we are gonna just let it go, and it's gonna grow things on it. And I'm not gonna get scared of that because I've read that mold is good. All you do is scrape it off and then put it in the vac pack and pop it back in your fridge for long-term storage. So that's how that works, and I'll show you all the processes for that. And this is my goulash, and I had put my homemade ricotta cheese on top, and it was super delicious. So I just baked this at a regular casserole temperature at around 350 for 40 minutes. And then this is my leftover sauce. I had made this as just a meat sauce with hamburger and 2 quarts of my home canned spaghetti sauce. So the Hubs has been working really hard on this goat shelter. This is just the beginning of the goat shelter. So we got the floor done. He's got the floor done and everything, like all the cement in place for the base there. And we also have bought a ton of screws and nails because it went through a lot. We want it to be really sturdy for the girls. And it's a work in process, but we're working on it. And he's already got to working on the walls, so he has been putting some paint together. And of course we have helpers, and we're working on the walls, and we're gonna get this built up, and they'll be in their house happy, hopefully this weekend. And then they'll have the chickens here as their neighbors, and I'm sure they'll enjoy each other. I've cleared out all the plants that were in the side gardens that were near the shed. So I replanted my rose and my oregano. I have marshmallow and echinacea and some lemon balm here. I also have some spearmint and a couple other little herbal plants that I planted there. And they're looking really sad, but they'll pop back up. This is the day that I had planted them, so they're really sad. And I also had to replant my stinging nettle, and that surprisingly is super strong, and it didn't phase it at all. But I did give it a little haircut. I also planted some rhubarb here, and they weren't doing good because I transplanted them, so they'll come back better next year. I'm patient, so I'll be super excited to have a bunch of rhubarb. And over here I have some spices. I have some dill, basil, and cilantro. So that'll be really nice when I want to run out of the kitchen and grab some spices for cooking. We finally got the walls up, and now we just have to add the roof and the door. We're gonna have like a little barn door for them so I can open the top and they can peek out, and it's gonna look so cute. We're gonna put a sign on there, and eventually we'll make 2 little signs for their names. Definitely gonna have to paint it, so we're gonna spruce it up and make it look all cute for the babies, and they'll hopefully enjoy this for a while. We'll have to put some kind of hay little rack on the side so they can munch on their hay outside, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have to make some little swings or something for them as well, so that'll be a future project. But I thank you guys so much for watching, And it was so nice to see you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Many blessings, and we'll see you on the next video, friends.